We can get started, yes. Does anyone want to pilot the ship tonight? I can do it, but if someone else from the committee would like to, that's fine.
I'm fine if you do. I'm looking for the agenda now.
Okay. All right. So I don't see any public comments. No one's here is an attendee.
Except the other Ron Goralski.
Yeah. Carolyn, do you have anything to add? No.
No, not today, but thank you for asking.
No. And then
Well, no, yeah, the other one.
Pat or Lily?
Is that Lily or Patty? I think it's Lily.
It's me. I'm here.
Oh,
That's Lily.
It's Lily. Yeah.
Do you have like, do you just want to listen in? Is that it? Or did you have like some kind of comment while you're at school?
I actually am at town hall because I had this Gov Law assignment to listen in on a town hall meeting, but there's supposed to be Board of Ed meeting apparently, but they're not here, so I'm sitting in town hall watching this. So yeah, I'll be taking notes for an assignment.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you go look for CJ and pull him out and tell him that?
I mean, maybe you could talk about a little bit about the bike rack.
Oh yeah, I was able to implement the like metal frame portion of the bike rack, and so like that's in, and I just have to finish. I talked to Dunning, and they will be getting back to me for possibly giving an in-kind donation of stone dust, and then I'm just finishing up the wood portion. So hopefully, like before, probably by the end of winter, if not way sooner. But yeah, we were able to get like the majority of the project done, so that was good.
Then we can do a little ribbon cutting. Yeah.
Yeah, big scissors.
Mm-hmm. Bigger than you, right?
That's great, Lily.
Yeah.
All right. We'll add that to the public comments for minutes. So that's proof that you were here, Lily, as well as the recording. And then let me pull up the agenda. I have one item to add to the agenda under new business, and I just require your vote on this. We will have to vote on meeting dates for next year. I kept it the same every second Wednesday of every month, excluding August. If anyone would like to change that, speak now. But let me pull up the document.
And do we have enough official members to have a quorum?
Without two of them, 1, 2,
yeah, we have a quorum.
4, 5. Okay. Yeah, we're at 5.
Yeah, we just do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barely.
Yeah.
And we take off August again because
that's what the town committees generally do, including the town council. It's usually, I don't know. I guess historically people like to travel in August in Farmington. Is my understanding, not being from Farmington.
That's when you do your bike tour run.
Yeah.
All right. I do. I travel to the Burlington side of Lake Garda, so I guess. Yeah.
I vote to accept the new schedule for 2024. Or sorry, I make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Okay. These would be the proposed dates. So again, second Wednesday of every month.
Are you going to send out a calendar invitation with the current Zoom on it?
Yep. Yeah. So once it's approved, I can set this up in Zoom, and everything will be automated just as always. I know we have 2 conflicts, one in November, and I think the other one is in June or July, with the Inland Wetlands Commission. But there's a few other accounts that I can use to facilitate the meeting, so we may or may not have to change 2 meeting addresses if that isn't resolved, but we'll get there when we get there.
And if there is a conflict, I'll probably have to go to inland wetlands.
Understood, Neil.
I'd much rather be here. The meetings are shorter.
What am I doing? There we go. All right, we'll move on then. Or all.
Can you email
all in
the dates?
favor? Yeah, I can email the dates.
That'd be great.
All in favor of the dates, say aye.
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 Opposed? I don't hear any. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Next meeting, agenda item 2024 goals. I know we touched upon that really early in the last month's meeting. For 2024, I don't know I don't know if anyone has spoken with anyone from the newly appointed or voted in town council. But any of those issues that you may or may not have brought up to them, those would be issues that we could maybe add to the 2024 goals list. The purpose of our goals list, again, to remind us of last year, is to pick 4 or 5 items that we think we can get done this year, and then 2 or 3 items that are our long-term goals that we will be working towards continuously. So if everyone could just think about those types of things, we can put a list together next meeting. I'm not going to put you on the spot now.
Does it have to be next meeting, or were we going to put the list together this meeting?
We can attempt to put a list together this meeting, or we can hash out ideas.
I think we've all got a pretty good idea of what we want. You know, we've been doing a lot of talking, kind of like COP 28, but not seeing too much progress on it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see, I think the number one big project that we got to keep pushing for is to get bike connectivity from Farmington Main Street up through to Yukon, and connect up to West Hartford, through the jug handle. It's a huge project with DOT, but, we keep talking about we need to do this study. We got to get these prelims done before we can get grants and all that. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
months go by.
I mean, that's probably number one on my list. And I would say that that we really should discuss that in this meeting, because the recreational trails grants applications came out 2 days ago.
Okay.
And so Farmington should be applying for a rec trails grant for design money for the jug handle. It's just it's crazy not to. They've got $10 million this year, and you all know I sit on that board.
Yep.
So you have a little bit of an in.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask the group, and this comes from me, but I want to know if there's a project that maybe is more ready for that grant, Bruce. If that grant would accept a project that's not in need of jumping as many hurdles as the jug handle project would be, in terms of getting state partnership with DOT and CROG and getting all of those components working and funding for construction. Is there something else that we may be able to use that grant money for.
Well, don't
That's-
forget, I wasn't thinking about construction money. I was thinking
No,
about
it's purely design, right?
design. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, because we got to do the design before we go any further, right? So
Of course.
I guess, well, so here's the question maybe for you. I'll throw this back to you. Uh, I can't imagine that given the admittedly now a number of years old crossings project that DOT had already done. What we need to do is figure out a routing for you know, an off-road trail. That would be number one. Number two would be to, you know, put a call in to DOT and say, are you willing to look at this as a unified project going from Farmington to West Hartford? And that's really the only question what we need to ask, because you know, you know that crossing project is going to have to be redesigned anyway. And that's on DOT. That's not so much on the town.
Yep. Yeah,
Well-
and that's kind of why I wanted to ask the question, is because if the town does the design work, are we putting ourselves in a position where DOT is going to say, well, you have the design, why don't you get the money and build it rather than they?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Is
Okay,
that
'cause
locking me into owning the project?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, among other things, you know, that type of project qualifies for, you know, 100% lots of money. I mean, because don't forget, you know, we're not looking at this year. We're looking at
It's a small
25
amount of lots of money. Lots of money for that would be about 1.5 million, and that would be about all they have for that category. Maybe
yeah, that's
they
true.
might have
Yeah.
5 million for the category in that
Yeah.
year, but it's a
Okay.
very small number, and I don't think it's going to quite cut it.
All right. So in that case, you know, what would happen ultimately is that it would revert back to CROG,
Yeah.
and it'd go on CROG's TA list.
Yeah.
And so you'd have a gap, you know, in between the design, you'd have probably a year gap, because it
Yeah.
would have to go on the federal list.
Yeah. And
But it's still in process. I mean, I see. I want this to be in process.
yeah,
My-
at least it
my
would be in
cons-
process.
Yeah, and Dylan, that's kind of my concern, is that if we divert that grant money to something else that is more ready to get done this year, this is going to be one more year this project doesn't move forward.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
I just wanted to float the idea out there. It was just a thought I had the other week about locking ourselves into doing the project ourselves rather than with the state as a partner, or as with CROG would be a partner either way, but more so the
Yeah.
state.
No, I mean, don't forget, you know, this is such a major, you know, connectivity project.
Yeah.
That I, quite frankly, I would be shocked if DOT balked at it, you know, in any particular way. The only thing they might do is, just for priority's sake, they might put it down the list, if it goes on the TAP project list.
Yeah.
But, you know, don't forget, it's such a big deal for connectivity. You know, we could go for something like a raise grant or something
Mhm.
like that, which the town hasn't done, and there's oodles of money in that account.
Bruce,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you say a trail or you say connectivity, I think you need to put something together that is going to be year-round, 24/7, you know, available. If you just put in a trail, the minute it snows, it turns to ice and you're done. And that could be from mid-December all the way to March. So
Yeah.
part of what that connectivity has to be is a little bit more shoulder going up Route 4 so you have a rideable space. I mean, I've ridden that road for 40 years. It's not a big
So have I.
deal.
Yeah.
But
No, you're right.
to make
Yeah.
it more palatable towards, you know, that connectivity to Yukon, it's got to involve the road where they're pushing the snow back.
Well, we could, see, again, that's why you hire a design team, right? But, could it be, for instance, a buffered side path? So it could be plowed, for instance.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do that we've got to be careful because we don't want to be plowing bike paths per se. But if it's a side area where you can plow and it's more shoulder, great. That's terrific.
Yeah, you run the risk though of making it a barrier to entry because there's a lot of people that have a real problem riding on a side path on a major highway. We'd have to think about that. I think there's ways to handle it is the answer. But your point is well taken. I mean, obviously, if it's an off-road facility, they do indeed tend to not get plowed for,
True. I missed what you said. My computer locked up, but I understand. I just want to put that concern out there.
No, it's a legitimate concern. Again, if you're thinking of this as a commutation corridor, that has different implications than a multi-use trail does.
Okay.
But we don't have to parse that right now. Again, the idea is, if we get enough funding for a legitimate plan, then whoever we hire as the consultant would actually discuss that.
Okay, good.
Bruce, just a quick question for you. How many years do I have to spend the money?
3.
If awarded 3? Okay.
Yeah, usually. And then, honestly, if you're in process and things have bogged down, they'll give 2 or 3 extensions.
Okay.
So, yeah. And again, I sit on the board, so I'll give you an extension.
And then is this something I need a consultant before I send in the application, or am I solely filling out the paperwork to receive the funding to start the design process?
I think one of the things that you and I might want to do, and we could just discuss this offline, is talk to some of the consultants in the space that we know and work with already, and get a feel for what they think the cost of such a thing would be. So what you need to do, like yesterday, is come up with a scope.
Okay.
And maybe I can help with that too. If you want. I don't know how much help you need with that, but essentially, we need a scope of services for that design project.
Okay.
And once we have that, we can essentially shop it around. I can call some people I know, and I'm sure you can too.
Yeah.
And let's get a firm idea on what everyone thinks it's going to cost. And don't be surprised; it's going to be a lot more than you think it is. They're getting huge numbers for projects these days. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I've got a good relationship with one individual at a fairly large firm, so I'll give him a shout. I won't even write a scope. I'm just gonna ask him what he would do from a traffic standpoint. Because to me, without having a study or anything like that done, to me the safest and most realistic solution is a bridge similar to the one that we put over Route 6 for the trail.
Could be.
Unfortunately, that's
it could
where
be.
my mind goes, just because of how fast people come off of that off ramp.
It would be awfully expensive, and the problem with the bridge, of course, is
is the approach.
Is the approaches. If you got 3% ADA grade, you're looking at I don't know what that is, 1,200 feet of approach.
It'd be a lot.
They
do it in Boston.
Like a quarter of a mile of approach.
They do it in Boston.
Oh yeah. No, they do it in a lot of places. No,
they do it in a lot of places.
I've seen some good ones.
Yeah. There are some very good examples of it, and I don't know. To me, having impatient traffic sit there for a 45-second walk phase.
Yeah, well, that's what at grade would happen.
Yeah. It would be,
Uh,
yeah,
it would be, in fact, it'd be at least 45 seconds. 'Cause
yeah, it
it's-
might be a minute.
it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. And yeah, no, you'd have some people leaning on their horns, probably. It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, absolutely. And then God forbid it does the light changes and you get the walk phase and someone's walking across and someone's trying to beat that light coming through at 80 miles an hour. I know we've probably all seen that happen once or twice.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I just that's my thought, that's my personal thought.
well, again, I think when you're talking about scope of project, one of the things that the town, could say in the bid document is essentially, we recognize that there's the possibility of an at-grade crossing, but what are the other possibilities?
Yeah. Yeah,
Now I will tell you that DOT is hesitating to build those types of bridges. We're looking at specifying something for the new design for the last piece of the Charter Oak Trail in East Hartford.
mhm.
And they're looking at a bridge over the 84 flyaway ramp in East Hartford.
Okay.
And you can't imagine how long the egress is to the bridge. And it has to be pretty big. It's 4 lanes there. It has to be a pretty big bridge.
Yeah.
So in response, they're toying with putting a tunnel underneath. Now, where we're talking about, you can't really do a tunnel because it's not it's not upgrade enough. But they're looking at alternatives to bridges because they're just seriously expensive and you need so much room.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
I think at-grade is our only option, but I have
but
my issues with that.
and you know what I can do is I'll call one of my pals at VHB tomorrow and run it past them. I'm trying to think of who else could give us a good quote. Maybe Weston and Sampson.
SLR, AECom, they'd all be interested in something like this. It's a big connection.
AECom would love it. You could do Holly Parker at SLR.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get some quotes.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
Okay.
I
really think I just really think we should move forward. I don't want to go for another year without at least making an attempt.
Okay. All right. So that seems to be the general consensus. So that's what we'll do.
But Neil, did you want to say something?
Yeah, and I know we don't have to solve it now, but there could be a traffic bridge. It doesn't have to be a trail bridge. Think of what they did on Flatbush Avenue in Hartford. They actually elevated Flatbush Avenue over, so you could get the traffic up and over. So there's just something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're thinking about creative things to do because, those so-called tunnels are essentially, precast culverts.
Yeah.
And
they're just box culverts.
oh yeah, they're box culverts, and it's a brilliant way they do it. They get everything ready to go and they shut it down for a weekend.
Yeah. Throw
the culverts in and pave over it. It's ready for Monday morning. So, it's I mean, there's obviously a lot of work to do before that, but that's what they're going to do in Plainville for the trail for phase 2 of Plainville. They're going to build one of those. It's 5 precast culverts under 72 for the bike trail.
Okay.
Yeah, they just approved it.
Good.
So for this, Dylan, can we add this as a standing item on our agenda and have actions for, what are our actions for next month's meeting or in the coming weeks for this?
I think it's for Bruce and I to kind of field this around the private sector.
Okay, good. Okay.
And
let's get a number together.
Yeah, and to look at
The
it
actual
that way,
application is due March 6th.
and then at the next meeting we'll put a little, we'll call it a task force to get that
Okay. Great.
Yeah,
put together.
yeah.
So
I've
yeah,
got a whole
we'll
bunch
keep,
of smaller ideas too.
yeah,
For
we'll keep
for
this
stuff.
at the top of the agenda for next meeting.
Yep. So basically, we need, Dylan, we need a, you know, a cocktail napkin scope. you
Yeah,
know, just to, because obviously we'll have to do a full blown one for, you know, if we get the grant. But for now,
yeah,
you know, we need enough information so that everyone's on the same page.
yeah, and I will let everyone know that we have some larger trails projects in the works, but not ready to discuss yet. It purely ideal right now, or ideas right now, but those should be materializing next year, and then hopefully next summer I'll be able to share a bit more about that. Really exciting stuff. Yeah. But yeah, let's continue.
Why wouldn't we be at least aware of that or be able to weigh in on it before it gets too far down the road?
It's only been a conversation between Russ and I. That's all.
Okay.
That's all it's been.
Yeah.
It would be through a federal grant.
Okay.
As of now, and then
It would just be nice to have a review and be able to have, you know,
oh
at least
yeah,
some input. Yeah. Okay.
we are not even close to that, Neil.
Okay.
I have nothing to show you. I have no documents, nothing. It's something that I'm personally excited about. They're bridge projects mostly.
Okay.
Just upgrades. It's not changing anything drastically, but something exciting that would make things look a bit nicer out on the trails, and maybe get more spots to look out into nature, more pull-offs, stuff like that. But it's purely all ideas right now, and
Okay.
we're trying to materialize that for both state and federal funding for the next year.
Right. So I've got the smallest one that should be super easy to get done is the water fountain.
Water fountain, I have to order. I just have to order it and communicate with Connecticut Water as to what they require.
So we did get a PO with a quote and all that now?
Yeah.
And to get it ordered, what do we need to do? Is that something that can be done for next month, or?
I need to order it. I need to get a final PO from our office. All of the accounting has been done, an account's been made for it. The Trails grant, Ron, has been put into that account. So it's all of the back channel stuff is done. All of the behind the scenes is done. Just gotta order it.
Cool. So that
Yeah,
should be the
ready
easiest. Give me on the list.
Yeah, should be ready for next spring, I would think.
Nice. Okay.
As long as the lead time's not too bad. But last time I spoke with them, it was fairly quick, actually.
Another little one that should be pretty easy to accomplish would be to get mapped signed route to you know, the town hall, library, high school, fields from the bike route, as well as, you know, maybe signs for the Tungus Mead Trail along the river and the bike path.
Yeah.
Trail. Okay. Yeah, for the Highlands, I can map it. I don't necessarily want to add the signs.
Oh, we could even just
Well,
do a sign
just-
on the bike path, you know, right at that gravel cut through,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah,
and just have a sign saying, you know, high school, town hall, library, fields, track, or something like that.
yeah, that's
Let people
exactly what I
figure it
was
out on their
thinking.
own.
Yeah,
How come we didn't want to do signage? How come
Yeah, I thought we
Oh.
discussed that last month, and they don't have to be huge signs, but just something like West
Yeah.
Hartford, a little circle with an arrow. You know, follow the red trail to the town hall complex, for example.
I just don't know why we would need that. It's almost a straight shot unless I'm missing something.
But I mean, you're making a whole bunch of turns. You know, it's not one.
Yeah.
Get on one road and go. You're making a left turn, a right turn, going across, and you know, I mean, anybody that's got a phone on them can figure it out. But it's
Rose Court.
honestly, if you get a bunch of kids or something like that, it'd be. I like the idea of, you know, follow the red route, and literally it'd be a little maybe 3-inch red circle with an arrow pointing forwards or something.
Yeah.
You know, and stick that on telephone poles or whatever, so it doesn't have to compete with stop signs. But
And we were hoping this would only be the beginning too, because we'd also like to map out other areas in town that people may not know about through other neighborhoods to get to, you know.
Other places, yeah.
I can speak like as a high school student. I know a lot of kids like trespass through people's like backyards to get to the path. So I do think it would be beneficial because I know kids get lost all the time in my own neighborhood. So
Okay. All right.
yeah, I remember when before I bought the house here in the Highlands, and I was trying to find whatever house, you know, my mom had told me to go look for, and we came in here and we got completely lost. And granted, now it seems so straightforward. It's right off Route 4, straight up Knollwood, but you know, it's pretty confusing for people new to
Yeah.
this neighborhood.
Yeah, it can be. It took me a couple trips to learn it myself, so all right.
Yeah,
guess
and that should be easy. That I mean, it's not DOT. It's all town. You know, it shouldn't be expensive.
Is there
You know,
some
and
is there some pushback in the town hall?
I'm sorry, what was that, Ron?
Is there some pushback by anybody or?
Generally speaking, a little bit, but nothing crazy. We'll just revisit it. I don't really see it being a problem.
Okay. Because kind of not to get off the subject, because I think when we do get that type of pushback, I think there's a definite disconnect in people or someone understanding what we're trying to do here as a group to become more bike friendly with just little projects like this.
Yeah.
So I don't think they need to be a big back and forth all the time. I think if we just establish and that this is what we want to do throughout the town.
Yeah, I can make a case, Ron, that it helps us on our application for silver.
you know, and that also ties right into Safe Routes to Schools. You know, you get the teal route to this school, you get the blue route to that school, you get the green route to that school. You know, we we desperately need safe routes to schools. You know, it's not going to be easy in some cases, but honestly, I think every elementary, middle, and high school needs some way to connect to it. You know, and if we come up with this one little project here to the high school, you know, it could kind of set a template of, hey, you know, this really worked well. You know, we tried out for a year, and if it works well, you know, then we could adopt it in other places, and then it's going to be easy because we've already blazed that trail. Or we say, you know what, it didn't work as we intended. Okay, let's try something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Safe Routes to Schools is another one of my wish lists.
Is that like mapping, Andres?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, for each school to look at, you know, the main neighborhoods that attend that school and come up with reasonable ways of, getting our kids there safely. Some might be using sidewalks. We might have to add sidewalks or put crosswalks in some places. But honestly, I'd love to see a liaison from each school saying, okay, I own this school, and we spin off subcommittees for that. I don't know if we got any buy-in from Board of Ed after the elections. They talked a good game before the election. But I think integrating cycling culture within our town, within, the schools is key to, to make lifestyle changes. I think we're all pretty passionate about that.
And it will take some creativity. It's not just going to be, it's going to be like we're talking about through neighborhoods, different routes that people don't normally take. This is the type of issues we're going to find in a town like Farmington, where the roads aren't safe enough to connect.
We're our town is a suburban town. It's very different from New York City and Boston and even Hartford. But if we want to improve the bicycling infrastructure and, comfort level of our residents, I think take a look, at where we want to be in 10 years. And, once we've gotten some of the big projects done, once we've got some of the little projects done, this is our wish list, and we're not going to accomplish everything all at once, but, we come up with this list and we keep chipping away at it. We make this list public, and we'll have our residents holding us accountable. Then they'll start asking town council, hey, can we get some more resources for it? I think the bike league application said for a town our size, we should have a bicycle coordinator position. Somebody whose job it is to work on this stuff and improve it. And, rather than adding more workload to a town employee that's already probably, overworked and, trying to figure out how to get more stuff done. It's like, what do we, we're at bronze, we want to get to silver. And, at some point, what do we need to keep doing to keep getting better?
Right.
And that's kind of where I see this list that we're coming up with. And I'm glad CJ joined, so it's like from the town council for that bike coordinator position is that, I know our town has always been run very, very fiscally responsibly. We're not just going to throw, hundreds of thousands of dollars at stuff, but is a bike coordinator something that's possible? I don't know if grants cover that stuff or partially, or even, as a part-time position, at 20 hours a week. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Dreaming.
I don't think we currently have that kind of budget.
No, I'm sure we don't, but it comes down to town council to allocate something like that. If this is important for our residents, like our charter says it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, Andres, I would say if we had a presence at the first meeting of the new year, which is January 2nd, they're going to have 3 meetings in January just to express that the new council continues to support this group and bike and ped access throughout the town. I think that would be a good start, and just let the new people, there are 4 new people on the council, let them understand that. I've had talks with Keith Vibert, who I believe is going to be the liaison from the council next year, and explain to him kind of where we're at and what we've been doing. I'm sorry, I apologize for being late. I've got like another meeting I'm going to. I just wanted to make sure I got on for a few minutes. So I think that's the best way to go about it. If there are any type of grants available for that position, and I don't know, whether Bruce knows or whether there's something through the town that we could get, that'd be great if we get grants to do that. As they're putting together what their targets are for the next 2 years, it's, you want to be on the page at the very least to continue the things we've been trying to do and to get the access throughout town and get signage and that type of thing. And if you can get some of the new people to have an ear for funding for more than that, great. But you got to ask first.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that's something that could be done through CROG, and we team up with, Avon or West Hartford and split somebody.
That's a possibility. The other thing is looking at funds, and this would be more through the Board of Education to get them to do the outreach, is safe routes to school grants. And I don't know how we've done with them. Dylan, I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
I am not familiar
Okay.
with those grants.
Because that's something that I've kind of tried to push over the years, that we should be trying to get some of those grants, because that would have to do with any of the access trails getting to and from the high school. And frankly, it would be the access to the trail, because once someone can get to the trail, then they can get to the high school a little more easily. Not directly, but a little more easily.
CJ, would it be unheard of to, it's great to get up in front of the board, but, you don't get a lot of time to reach out to each person and make time to sit down with them and just talk about, get more involved in what we do?
Yeah, I think if you send a letter, you can send an email to the entire council. I mean, we get plenty of emails over the course of any one term where someone sends it out to all the council members. The first it would be interesting to see who responds and who doesn't. It's some people will respond to everyone that comes in and just say, we're looking into it. Someone else looking into it. Some people ignore everyone that comes in. So with a new group, maybe you can condition them to listen and hear what you're saying. And that would be fine. You'd say, we'd like to meet with each one of you, every one of you, and see what kind of response you get.
So CJ, were we on the map? So you were there 4 years. Did we become a thing, an issue? Did we become a priority at all? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And it's a yes, no. Obviously, it was a somewhat unusual 4 years. First meetings when we're setting our goals and targets, it was great. We were talking about all these great things we wanted to do, and then 3 months later, COVID hit, and that kind of everything got dumped out there. You can't blame everything on COVID because there were a lot of things we still got done. The high school, getting that funding, there were a lot of other projects that would jump ahead, and it would be hard for me to push. If we're talking about things like the jug handle, some of the big ticket items, it would be hard to push for those while we're still trying to fund the town hall renovations or the new building in 1928. But we continue to look at getting different signage, trying, and I don't know if you've had any talks about the crosswalks tonight, but I'll give you a little snippet on that just so you've got some kind of response. But so we've had the conversation, and it's always part of the conversation at every council meeting. One of the items has been the bicycle advisory committee or the bike ped advisory committee, and what we're looking to do. So it's been there, and I think Rose has been a good help when she got the signage down, by where the Unionville bottle shop used to be and all that. So it is there. The other one that I think would probably be good to reach out is to TP&Z and just remind them that they're supposed to be talking to all new businesses about getting bike racks and things like that. Did you all talk at all about the crosswalks today?
No, we have not yet.
Okay, well, I'll give you while I'm here, and I'm sorry to kind of disrupt things with all this, but what happened with those crosswalks was those two businesses That was basically an agreement. They said, we don't want any type of painted crosswalks. That was an agreement with the town to help get that all done. Because at the beginning, getting anything done was a challenge. But that was sort of the agreement. So Ron, if you've got contacts and you want to sit down and talk to them, that's fine. Just you have to go in understanding if they say the agreement was we didn't have to paint these, and then you explain why it's in their benefit. I mean, having a painted, I don't understand what I don't know any of the background of what their argument was and why they didn't like it to begin with, but they signed on and agreed with the whole concept of putting it through their driveways if they didn't have to be painted. So just so you know, going in, there was an agreement with the town. You just have to explain to them why it benefits them and it benefits the community, that they say, okay, that was the agreement in the past, but we're okay with it now. We understand the purpose.
So was this just a verbal handshake type thing?
Yes. It was a
Okay.
handshake agreement. So
I know in real estate, those don't count.
what's that? Oh, and really,
In
right.
real estate, they don't count.
No, but that I guess they gave their goodwill portion of it. They did, they signed on to it and agreed that the trails could go there without trying to fight it and tie it up in court, which could have, in Plainville, they had a nightmare of that someone tied it up in court for years, which is one of the reasons they still don't have it. So if they were fighting us on it, we probably wouldn't have the trails going through there right now. So, but time has passed. They might see a benefit now. And Ron, you put on your best persuasive hat and explain to them, show them the statistics and all that. And hopefully that can get them to say, hey, there's not a downside to us doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I even designed a crosswalk guy costume I was going to wear.
Just don't lie down as a speed bump.
Well, thanks for that information.
Sure.
CJ, if we can get them to agree to it, would they have to take the cost of painting, or is that something the town would do?
I don't think so. I think we would do that. We painted other crosswalks. I think it's just them
Okay.
agreeing to let it be done.
Okay.
I'll 100% confirm that, but I'm 99% sure that's when it needs to be painted, we'll paint them.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's probably how it would happen.
Awesome.
That'll be
And
my parting gift, hopefully.
just to verify, you are continuing on this board.
Well, right now I'm on the board as a town council liaison, so the council would have to put me back on. We did get Carolyn on Tuesday night,
Oh,
so she's officially on. So.
Wow.
Oh my gosh! Wow, really?
Yes. No, I didn't know that was you there. I didn't know
Yeah,
the
the
was
second
you.
round.
Sorry.
you're
Well,
Oh my God.
congratulations, Ben. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful! Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
But she has to get sworn in, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you just go to the clerk's office. Maureen or somebody in the office will make it official.
Now, how
Oh
about
wow!
Kyle.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy to be a part of all this.
Officially part of it. You've been part of it. Now it's official.
Yeah, that's good. I can weigh in.
Yes.
Thanks for doing that.
Sure. So what else?
So we need to do what to keep you here? We need to expand the board.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to them after they
Okay.
meet for their first meeting. I want to see how exciting their first meeting is before we stir things up too much.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, because if you're not part of it, I'm gone too. Not kidding.
I'm just getting private text messages. You have to step away. We're gonna drive Ron out. Just
I'm not
kidding.
texting.
That's funny.
No, that's the energy is what keeps us going, Ron.
Well, thank you. All right.
Were you talking to us?
Yeah. I said thank you.
I'll unmute myself so
Okay.
it's not just my lips moving. So I put in the chat just kind of my ideas on a couple of easy things. that I think is accomplishable for 2024. We talked about the routes, safe routes to schools. It'd be great to get a bike to school day in the springtime too, and not just at Union. I think it's important that we kind of grow that and just get people excited for biking.
So did you get the email that I sent out? I had mentioned that we have meetings set up and a lot of them have already taken place with
Okay.
the various schools. And I also asked for, which I never get any, I also asked for other people to come on board from here and from Bike Walk Farmington as well, because we've got maybe 2 or 3 people trying to do about 8 different things. And I'll get into that a little more after, but we'll have a little report on the bike to school.
Okay. I was going to say, maybe we could just divide and conquer. Each one of us picks a school.
Well, we basically got that.
All right. I'll wait for it.
Okay.
Then the league application, we're working on that, but
We have a
getting
report on that too. Yeah.
getting the police department and the gym, gyms like Big Sky and Valley Fitness as bike friendly workplaces. I think that could be doable for next year.
Okay. That'd be great to add some businesses and especially gyms. Like that goes a long way.
Yep. Yeah. So, those are kind of my low hanging fruit.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else has ideas that they want to add to the list.
Well, I do. I was at Bruce was there as well. Not sure anyone else here. The annual Farmington Valley Trails Council meeting, and Bruce's good friend Scott Bushy was there. He's the engineer from the state in charge of the trail being built right now from Plainville to Southington. Am I right, Bruce?
Yeah, he's chief design engineer. Yeah, so he's in charge of basically internal design of bike trails. Yes.
Well,
at DOT.
He was fantastic. If you were a person who was not already excited about trying to make change, he hopefully made a few of those. But my biggest takeaway was his opinion on what he called the blue containers. And he obviously hates porta potties. And he talked about the sustainable outdoor toilets that are in a lot of different places along the trail. And one of his comments was that, most of the parks in our state have facilities. And what's a trail, a bike trail is nothing more than a linear park. So I think that's something that we should look into in the future. Having real bathrooms instead of the big blue containers. So
That's a perfect note for me, Ron, because I got to hop off and go to my next meeting. But we just got you porta potties this year. Now you're trying to upgrade.
yeah.
Look,
Mhm.
I'm sorry I'm a short timer tonight, guys. I just wanted
That's
to
okay.
toss
No,
a few
thank
things
you,
out there,
CJ.
but I will see you at the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. So anyway, I'm just floating that out there for sometime whenever to talk about some more. We don't need to do that now.
Nice.
What's that?
Floating, nice.
Well, it's not like it hasn't been done. There's a lot of places that have them.
Went right over his head.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, it did? That wouldn't be the first time. Okay. I had one more thing about things that we should look into. Is that, or no?
Can I ask one question, Ron? That
Yeah.
gentleman you talked to from the state, is that the guy who's planning on putting a race crosswalk across the bike race course in Plainville?
Bruce?
Yes.
Is there any way we could get him to come out to our race in the spring and see what it involves?
I could give him a try. I mean, I know him quite well.
I mean, it can't hurt. I mean, if he sees the issue, maybe we can work something out.
I'll see what he says. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he might, I mean, he's interesting because, he's a good example of, an older, crustier transportation design engineer that actually bought a bike like 5 years ago. And he actually is now riding a lot. And, if you talk to him, he'll tell you it's changed his life. So, you have a chance.
Well, you know what? I mean, at least if I can show him what we are dealing with, and maybe we can come up with a solution.
Yeah, I mean, definitely worth a shot. So let's work on that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
Can't
happy
hurt.
to. Yeah, I'm happy to.
Cool.
Yeah, and but by the way, before I forget, because I will, we can find wayfaring signage. In fact, there's a number of green bicycle arrows in the MUTCD guidebook that are cheap as hell. I mean, you just buy the blanks, and maybe we do that. So let's think about how that could work cost effectively for the town to sign some of those routes.
I might put them on stop signs under the always sign, if that's legal.
It's legal in town. Just don't try to do it on a state one. They'll give you 40 lashes. Yeah, they don't like that.
No.
Okay, I'm done
Mhm.
for this portion. Yep.
All right. Unless anyone else has anything to add for goals or jug handle stuff, I think we can move to old business then. Anybody?
The only thing that I wanted to add was, you remember the document I put together of suggestions for what we could do for infrastructure and stuff like that? I did add one at the bottom that I kind of addressed when we're doing road design, especially if we're redesigning a road or redesigning intersections and so on and so forth, that we look so that we have automatic features that will allow a cyclist to trip a light, like the cameras as opposed to the magnets in the ground. So I just put that in there at the bottom of the road design thing. And I also put in there that, this should be addressed when we redesign roads. We don't necessarily have to try and change everything now, but, in the future, let's look at this and have it be a part of the design.
Yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I spaced on that one too. So there's it's not terribly new, except that the costs have come down a lot. On the rapid flashing beacons, you can now get a laser function on them, where if you break through the trail, they'll automatically go on. So, and I think we should consider specifying that whenever we're redoing these, because that solves a lot of the problem with folks that are just, screaming through, wherever, and not hitting the pedestrian activation button. So and we can talk more about that, but that's, so essentially what it does is it has a short head on the other side of the trail or the path or wherever we're talking about. And they've got a calibrated laser that bounces off it. So if you break it, it turns the beacon on.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of road designs where you've had the the little bike lane for like a traffic light.
Yes.
Specifies where the cyclist should be if it wants to change the light. And that's the kind of thing that we should look at and take advantage of if we can.
Are we talking about two different things though? One is
we are, but
lights.
essentially it's the same thing, whether you're crossing a trail or whether you're crossing an intersection.
We'll call it the automated feature.
Yeah, which is essentially.
And I agree, Bruce. I've been an advocate for those for a long time. People just don't. Either you can't find the buttons, or you don't take the time to do it. So The
Yep.
automated ones like they have up in Canton are the way to go.
Yeah, yeah, those new ones in Canton, and in fact, they're specifying those for the Southington and Plainville projects.
Where are those? I can't.
All those new crossings, actually, some of them are in Avon, but there's a couple in Canton too.
Between between Collinsville and the Best Cleaners, there's a couple of near the dog park is one of them in
Really?
Canton.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they
So
actually.
that's why. So that's why it was on when I rolled through that intersection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I don't
honestly,
know. I don't know if they're laser or something else, but
It does. Oh, they could be a motion detector, but I was curious why the lights were on. I thought maybe they were malfunctioning because I didn't push the button.
Yeah,
Nobody
the motion
commented,
ones
you
do
know, it's like-
actually. The motion ones do detect motion a decent distance from the sensor.
yeah, they do.
Which
Yeah.
is good for cyclists.
which is good.
because,
Yeah.
You know, we tend to roll things when there's no cars coming.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
So
I
are
accidentally
any of
set one
these-
off not too long ago.
So are any of these a solution to Route 177 crosswalk? Any of the,
I would
Like-
say motion as opposed to laser, just because people coming off of the trail are not necessarily crossing the street all the time. And you don't want to train bad behavior for drivers.
You know, you'd almost have to do a beta test at 177 to decide which one would work best.
I think the other thing too, guys, is if you're coming down the trail heading towards Collinsville on that trail, one thing you have to do is take a right on the sidewalk to
Mhm.
get down to the crossing area. The problem with that is right then you're turning your back on traffic and you're in a driveway. So in my case, I tend to just roll up to the edge there, and most of the time the cars stop for me. And
Mhm.
I just, I can cross, but I don't necessarily use the official crosswalk. So you kind of have to be careful at that intersection because there's a lot more to it than just crossing traffic. There's also turning
Yeah.
traffic there. And if you turn your back on it, that's where you can get clipped.
Yeah.
Not
But you know-
a lot of traffic into that driveway, but still it's it's the same as riding on a sidewalk.
Yeah. Because, in answer to your question, Ron, 177 is almost a special case because it's oblique, right?
And it's skewed and it's
And
not
it's skewed,
totally lined up with the trail.
and the heads aren't lined up correctly. And I could go on, but I don't need to go on because So we'd have to figure that out. Is the answer? I don't know. I mean, there's traffic engineers that do this for a living.
okay. So do we go any further with that? Dylan, do we look into any of these?
We're working, we haven't started the application process yet, but we're going to be working on doing RFFBs on Lovely Street at the Sullivan Avenue Sullivan Avenue crossing on Lovely Street, so that your Five Corners in Unionville, where that small little traffic island is in front of the Mason building. There's no sidewalk, crosswalk from that island to in front of the Mason building. In fact, if you wanted to go there, your closest route is moving all the way or is walking all the way up to the can't think of the church name, but the white church, I think it's a quarter mile, maybe a little bit more up.
St. Mary's.
It's St. Mary's, thank you, Neil. And then crossing, and then if you wanted to go to Lovely Street, you'd have to come all the way down to the corner again and then walk back up. So we've had a few requests from residents to do something there. I have been working with DOT's permitting office for some time on this. They have been one individual has been extremely difficult to work with, but we have a solution now. The traffic drawings have been redone, and we will be getting a undesignated crosswalk with ramps for that island and the sidewalk in front of the Mason building. We're just not allowed to paint them. But there will be a crosswalk.
That's interesting. That was the deal, that you couldn't put paint down.
I cannot put paint down. That's right.
Fascinating.
That's
It is strange, the deals.
it was that, or I had to upgrade the entire intersection with all new signals, all new controllers. I'd have to rip out everything and
if you would have had me guess, I would have said that's what they would have made you do. Is redo the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's exactly what they told me that I was going to have to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you got off easy, as it turns out.
Not exactly. No. There were a few other conditions, but that was the big one that we just don't I don't understand why they don't want me to do that, but
well, I'm glad, that is dangerous there.
yeah, we are getting an improvement. The stop bar is being moved back.
Yeah, just keep taking little bites, and we'll eventually get there.
Yeah, and I'm sure the next time they go around and pave this, I'm sure someone will go, oh, we got to paint that one too, and I'm sure the state will end up painting it themselves.
Or Ron will.
or we'll have a vigilante there one night.
Right. Out there with his
a guy in a hoodie with roller and white paint.
That's right.
There you go.
A big 5-gallon tin of reflective paint. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but we are going to be pursuing RFF or RFBs up at the crosswalk on Lovely Street, a little bit further up at Sullivan Avenue. So we will be getting new ones there where we could maybe explore the new technology. My guess is that it's just going to be one of the motion ones. I don't think we necessarily need a laser there because not everyone walking on the sidewalk will be crossing the street. They might be walking down towards Unionville, or they might be crossing the street.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, the motion ones are better. They give a little bit more flexibility. I think the laser ones are more so meant for mid-block crossings.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yes.
Yeah.
For curb cuts.
Yeah. For where there's really nowhere else to go, and 95% of the people are going that way, or 90.
Exactly. If they're kind of in a cattle
exactly, Bruce,
situation, it's perfect for that. Yes, exactly.
100% agree. But otherwise, I think the motion ones are perfect, just because you don't have to be necessarily touching the button. You can be a foot or so away, and it should activate.
All right, what else do we have?
I got a question for Jeff, if that's okay. Just out of the blue, as a thought on my mind the other day. Jeff, when the PD does an investigation of a bicycle accident, do they ever have a checkbox that says whether the rider was wearing a helmet or not, and tracking the injury levels if we're riding a helmet or not wearing the helmet?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
There's on the new forms.
All right. I kind of think it's a good idea.
The action reports, like about 5 years ago, went from 2 pages to 10.
Oh.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just looking at the DOT's GIS mapping of all of the vehicle, pedestrian, and bicycle crashes. The amount of data that they have because of those 8 extra pages, Jeff, it's almost too much. There's never too much data when it comes to safety, but it's a lot of data. And I'll try and find it during the meeting and share it so that you guys have it. But
well, I will tell you that it's been enormously helpful working with the legislature, because they've now got some much better numbers than we used to have. About causes of accidents, and so the data, I think, Jeff, has been enormously helpful politically, which is great. I mean, it doesn't make your job any easier necessarily, but But I think anytime we have, better data, particularly on safety, it helps everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We'll move forward. Trail crosswalks. I had that in his old business, but CJ addressed that when he popped in. Bike lead application update. Anything to report, gentlemen?
Actually, gentlemen and ladies.
Oh, yes. And Carolyn.
So Lily,
Sorry about that.
Carolyn, and I got together, and I'll tell you what, this is a monster, this application. It's just just as an example, it took us over an hour, and Carolyn, you can chime in, just to take one little box about adult education. And this is what I was touching on earlier, as far as if we're gonna hit these goals for the next level, adult education, I'll just take that portion. So we used to have Doug, who used to do adult education at the senior center. So that's what got us through on our first application, but we don't have that anymore. But someone who was impersonating me went into the senior center several months ago and suggested that he teach classes to the seniors. It was actually me. And have a learn to ride type of course, because I was told by the recreation director that had been asked for. So, excuse me, hopefully that'll check off that box. But there's a lot of, so I know nothing about bike maintenance, and I know that Matt, for instance, does. So it would help us to offer between now and I guess June, some type of maintenance course and some type of, what was the other one, Carolyn?
There was
riding
like
to work,
learn to
right?
bike,
Commuting.
maintenance, safety, commuting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
Like
there.
commuting.
Oh.
So we need a couple of seminars or classes, or we would have to figure that out. The other thing is, if anyone here could write, blogs, they're really heavy now on social media and presenting all different aspects of cycling, maintenance, commuting, riding with disabilities, the whole spectrum, really. So anyone who would feel comfortable writing an article about their little niche in the cycling world, then I can put that onto our Facebook, and we're hoping to get a website and whatever else on social media.
Ron, would it be possible?
They actually want links on the application of these articles.
Sure. So, I mean, a lot of that stuff is things that bike shops do already.
Mm-hmm.
I know Trek Newington's been pretty proactive about different workshops. I see them advertising, to the Winding Trails crowd, because they, sponsored, the Tri-Series. But, I would think in Farmington that Central Wheel would want to do something like that. I don't know if that's in Jeff's wheelhouse, how much social media presence he likes to do, but between Fix a Flat workshops and, hey, you know what, tonight let's do a workshop on bicycle commuting. I ride to work not as frequently as Matt does, but I could talk about it, but I mean, to put a presentation together, it takes a while to develop it. And I'm just wondering if that's something that Central Wheel, since they are, the one bike shop in town, and they would have a vested interest in increasing biking in the town, and, kind of a good neighbor thing to do too.
I could certainly ask him. I'm working on Fridays, so if I see Jeff, I'll run that by him as an idea.
And starts off with, maybe this in January, do a seminar on a Tuesday night, come into the shop, BYOB and package stores right next door, and then that would be on winter riding, and talking about winter riding and gear and, here's the tires you're going to want, or, if you really want to ride trails, fat bikes, then coming in March, maybe February would be Fix-A-Flat or easy maintenance chains. March would be bike to work. And
I think what happened with that is we did used to do things like that, but COVID killed it.
okay.
And it's not gotten revived yet.
Okay.
But I'll run
Yeah.
it by him and see if he wants to do something, even if it's a video thing where we could post it somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Ron's link or something like that. Well, yeah, I'll ask Jeff.
That
Yeah,
actually works too
It-
on the application. There's a
And-
box for that.
And I have to tell you, I speak all across the Northeast. I mean, I could probably speak in my hometown, I suppose.
And I know you would. So here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, you guys know me. My whole life, I hate to ask for things. So I'm going to take on as much as I can. But there's a lot of stuff here that, I really do need to reach out. And we need to get a lot of this done as a group because there is a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
but
it's-
is there anyone
it's-
from the town that we can get, or internships for the winter time, or just additional bodies in the town that might be willing to help?
Well,
I'm
we
not
got
aware
the
of any.
personnel here to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying this is a volunteer group that we're supposed to be steering the town to get things accomplished, and
Well,
I'd
this-
love to, but I'm spread so thin already, and probably not as thin as Ron is, but
Yeah, as far as additional personnel, you have me, but I have other projects I'm working on that are
Sure.
um,
You're trying to tell us that you are still very busy.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not going to be
understandably
very
so.
available
Yeah.
for the next few months.
Well, for instance, there's certain stuff on that application that only the town can fill out, for instance,
That's right.
which we should give you for sure.
Absolutely.
And we have, right? Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we should be thinking more about, a good example of this is in the off season, which is literally coming up for 6 weeks. That's the extent of my off season. If you gave me 3 or 4 pieces of that, I'm happy to work on.
Okay. As
For
far as
instance,
filling it-
so let's think about who we can touch up to do some of these things.
Okay. Because as far as filling it in, Carolyn and Lily and I, that's no problem. But it's when we come to something where we're like, oh wow, this needs to get done, like it hasn't been done.
Well,
And we want it done consistently, kind of like we wanted to establish, like, not habits, but we want these things to happen year after year. I think that's kind of like implied in the application. It's like your town does this.
Consistency. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Basically moving the benchmark up every year.
They moved it pretty far, I think, between the last application version and this one, is my understanding.
Right, Bruce? They really,
well, let's put it this way. It went from 60 pages to 85,
Yeah.
yeah.
just to give you an idea.
Well,
So-
it doesn't matter. We're going to pursue it no matter what.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, no, absolutely.
So-
Yes,
Let's just move
Yeah.
forward.
yeah.
Okay.
And for some of those ones that I guess we don't quite qualify for, try and think a little outside the box. I know sometimes that helps. Maybe if it's asking for bike friendliness on trails, you could or ADA bike friendly stuff on the trails. We have been starting to offset our benches so that people in wheelchairs can pull up on the pad that we pour for the bench and sit next to somebody without being on the ground all
Yeah,
in.
see,
Such a
that's,
small thing makes a big difference.
no,
Yeah.
see, that kind of stuff, that best practices kind of stuff is a big deal, actually.
Yeah,
So, you know, whenever you think of something like that, make sure you write it down somewhere, so we can
Yeah.
codify that, because that's great stuff.
yeah,
That's also good stuff to kind of share in our annual, accomplishments in the town newsletter, hopefully this winter. Hey, here's the things that we've done.
Yeah, and it's such a small thing, but it makes a big difference to some people, and that's, well, we're trying to reach everybody.
yeah.
Even
Yep.
something as small as, I don't know if this town, when I moved here, they did 27 years ago. They offered welcome packets to people who moved in. Carolyn says they don't do that anymore. But
That's probably because I moved in.
they have something where you would add bike friendly stuff, but I guess we don't have that anyway.
We do have a lot of material up in the front. If you're walking into town hall, there's a bit of material, not necessarily all about bikes, but there's some pamphlets and things to your right on a table by the model of Unionville.
Yeah, one of the things,
we could put stuff there.
yeah, well, one of the things that we don't codify very well is what other organizations are doing in our town. So a great example of that is the Farmington Valley Trails Council maps, which, the town gets, boxes every year, and they put them out front. So they're available. There's, so we should talk about what other organizations are doing within Farmington as well, and take some credit for that. So that's something I can help with, because I basically know what everybody's doing. So
Yeah.
But does our QR code count that we have on the?
yeah,
Yes, it would.
yes, it does. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, because we put down that it counted.
Yeah.
So believe me, we are thinking outside of
So-
the box.
That's exactly what I'm talking about when I say thinking a
Yeah.
little outside. Maybe it's a stretch, but if they bite, they bite.
Right. Right.
Is somebody checking with
so-
Winding Trails? I think Andres mentioned Trek does some stuff out there as part of the Tri-Series, but they run a lot of things. I don't know if they do education. I've got their 60-page winter newsletter I can look through and see if there's anything in there.
They don't have any specific education, but there is a grade school kids mountain bike club, that does ride there.
That's what I recalled.
Yeah.
And they do have some sort of an association with NEMBA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Not
They used to.
not
anyway.
as, not,
they
as-
used to.
not as far as I know. I'm part of NEMBA also, and I'm pretty active with Winding Trails. I mean, there's the Fat Tire Classic bike race in April.
Yeah.
And then usually the day right after, you've got the New England Youth Cycling bike race, which is going to have about 500 kids racing.
Is that the one run by Farmington Valley Youth Cycling?
Sorry, say again?
Is that the one run by Farmington Valley Youth Cycling?
No, Farmington Valley Youth Cycling is one of the CCAP, Connecticut Cycling Advancement Program teams. Kind of that covers the area. They will participate at the races.
But to Bruce's point, all of that stuff is going on in our town.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and we want to try to codify that. So we need to get all that stuff together.
Well, don't forget, half of my bike race comes through our town.
Well, we got to mention that too.
Yeah, I mean,
Me too,
and
so-
a lot of companies are helping me out with that, allowing it to happen. I've got a company that allows me to use the parking lot. There's a whole bunch of stuff with it.
All right,
it's
so
a good
Matt,
advocacy thing.
So if you can send me that, and if Andres, if you can compile whatever goes on at Winding Trails, then that's a big help right there.
Yeah, because Ron, this is going to be the 7th year for the race.
Okay.
All right, I'll send you something.
Yep.
And don't forget the East Coast Greenways Ride the State Ride, which goes through Farmington every year for the last 15 years.
Yeah, all the different charity rides that go up and down the bike path.
Yep.
Do you
So-
guys also want the
Send it
Greater
to me.
Hartford Cycling Club events that are not necessarily a charity ride or a large group ride, but do we have group rides to go through town all the time?
Oh yeah, no, we
You got
should.
the Saturday
Yes.
rides, out of
Yeah,
the shop. too.
we read through Saturday and Sunday now.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we should definitely, compile all of the club rides too.
Okay. I'll
Yeah,
see. I'll ask
absolutely,
around, see what I can
absolutely,
come up with.
yes. Yeah,
So if everyone can just send that information to me, that would be such a big help. So that's that. Now, and I'm gonna keep everybody up to date with my annoying emails on the bike friendly application, okay?
Yeah.
The bike friendly businesses, we have a chance, and Bruce knows this very well. There aren't a lot of towns that are really getting a lot of businesses on board. So, Neil and I have spoken. We're going to hit some businesses, and we have a real chance here to put ourselves on the map as far as bike-friendly businesses go, because we have such a long portion of the trail, and we have businesses that have workers that come from different countries who are already involved in the in bike culture, who ride to work. So people were throwing around a couple. I heard, like the police department, town hall, blah blah blah, library. It's just getting people to send me which ones they're gonna approach, and then we can divide and conquer, as Andrus was saying. I'll be going to EBM, so I'll take care of them. Neil and I will be going to Trump.
yeah, I think Trump is a no-brainer. I'd be shocked if they wouldn't say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
Uh,
Trump has actually told Rose Ponte, our economic developer, that they like to take people on a walk on the trail next to their facility during the interview process.
They
Oh,
were also very supportive of our race when it ran through their backyard. They allowed us to use their back driveway, so they're pretty friendly. They're very easy to work with.
Yeah, and I heard that through
Labs.
Inland Wetlands too, that they use that as a recruiting
Yes.
tool.
Yeah.
So
It was also mentioned there. That's right.
yeah.
And
And
we've
Ron will
done-
tell you, I've been kicking myself because I should have brought it up, soon after that meeting, but it only took me 6 to 9 months.
It's okay, we'll get it done. Jackson Labs, which we get
Jackson
invited
Labs,
to
yeah.
yearly, and Neil and I and Carolyn go there with our table. I think that will be an easy one too. So again, with the emails, if you can send them to me, geez, I sound like I'm trying to form a coup here and take over, but no, just with the application stuff.
This is your pyramid scheme, Ron.
Yeah. So please, think of the businesses that you want to approach or are a part of Central Wheel, and we'll go from there. We can move on to Neil if you wanted to talk about the bike education, safety education a little bit, right?
Just a little bit about the curriculum.
The curriculum.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to try to do is, and I've already talked to one of the people on the Board of Ed. My understanding is that we're supposed to have a Board of Ed liaison or member on this committee. So I'm trying to work that, and I think we'll get one. As the new year starts. The importance of that is in terms of getting the bike to schools and support for that. Andrus mentioned that before. We actually are trying to get those bike walk to school event at every school this year if we can. So contacts are already being made there. Ron's brokered a meeting with a woman from Canton who was instrumental in getting the statewide curriculum into the 4th grade.
Oh, that was Avon.
In their two. Oh, is that Avon?
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. It was Avon into their 2 schools for their 4th grade. So we talked to her, and we're going to take a run at getting that done here. Now, it's not our decision, but if we can get the Board of Ed to support us and get the superintendent on board, then we can kind of force this into the curriculum, maybe as early, ideally, we'd get it in the spring next year. We've talked to a couple of the schools already, kind of at a informal way. A couple of the gym teachers are already on board with having it as part of their health and wellness curriculum. And one of the big things I found out, because we kind of went down this path before COVID at Westwoods, and one of the questions was, well, where do we get the bikes, and where do we store them, right? Because this is a 1-week program. What do you do with the bikes? Where do you store them for the other 51 weeks out of the year? Apparently now the state has a fleet of bikes that they will deliver and store. It's probably a pod type thing, where they'll drop them on the school, and you can use them for a week, and then they'll pick them up and take them away.
So it's
at a
actually, I'm
relatively-
sorry. So it's
relatively
actually
small
Bike Walk.
cost.
I'm sorry, Neil. It's actually Bike Walk Connecticut.
Okay.
Yep. Who?
Yeah, they've got,
Sorry.
yeah, they've got, they're all packed carefully in a trailer and ready to go. So, and in fact, that's what they used in Avon, is
Yeah.
their fleet.
Yeah, so that removes one of the big hurdles that I thought we were going to have when we started talking about this 4 years ago. So, like I said, hoping we can get make some real progress on this in 24. First step is getting a Board of Ed rep on board. So we're working that.
Okay.
Anything else, Ron, you wanted me to mention?
No, that was pretty much it. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, just keep in the back of your mind, I'm on the board of directors of Bike Walk Connecticut. So, if you have any questions or comments, I can get you in touch with the folks that run that program.
Okay.
Great.
Good.
The last item on the agenda is just the Farmington Valley Trails Council update, if any.
Not me again. Oh, we didn't have a meeting this month.
I don't think so.
No, the last meeting was the annual where I talked about the speaker being there, and so there are no updates. They're just wondering where their water fountain is. I'm kidding. No.
Amy Watkins did approach me for another bench. We got that approved, so that will be happening. This will be going over again in Unionville, on a portion of the trail near Railroad Avenue.
You're becoming legend amongst some of the members there, especially Amy. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, they talk about you in glowing
We went
terms.
That's good. Yes, that's good. I try to make things work when I can. This is one of those things that we can make work. We're doing a considerable amount of work over there already, as Neil, you are very aware of, being on the Wetlands Commission.
Right.
So the bench should be here February, I think, maybe March, and then we'll put it in hopefully early spring.
Do you guys pour the pads for those?
We do, yeah.
Yeah,
So we
okay.
provide, so the town donates the labor. We do ask that as part of the donation that they pay for the concrete material, which is $200 or $300. But other than that, everything else we do is free in terms of installation and maintenance.
Good. Yeah, I'm sure they're happy to pay that. That's
Yeah, I've actually asked a few other towns what they do, and that was kind of the general consensus, is that they just kind of charge for materials, if anything.
yep. Yeah.
There are towns that do charge for labor as well, but we're not one of those towns.
Yeah, we had to find somebody to pour for Suffield. Suffield wouldn't do it, which is
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
there's
our
a few
guys
towns
just-
there. Yeah.
yeah, our guys just dug it out, formed it with 2x4s, and then they went to Home Depot and grabbed a pallet of 42
Yeah.
concrete mix bags and did it that way. Because to order a truck for 1.5 yards is you're getting watery concrete that's very weak and it's going to crack at some point in the near future because you're getting the leftovers. So there is another bench in the works as well.
Right.
But that's it. That's all I know.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I need a second.
Second.
Bruce, thank you.
Third.
Third. All right. 8:45. Thank you, everybody.